Hello ladies and gentlemen, the second major update for Kingdom Rush Vengeance is here, and with that update comes two new heroes, one of which is Eiskalt.
Revenge is best served cold.
I say Eiskalt, but his name is actually pronounced like this.
Eiskalt.
But since the last update had Junpei as a hero name, I'm just going to boycott proper pronunciation until we get the simpler hero names of the old days. As you may know, the stat bars in the hero room can be pretty misleading, so here are all of the level 10 stats for Eiskalt. He has 630 HP, 66 to 98 true damage on his attack, no armor, no magic resistance, a 22-second respawn time, and slow speed. Speaking of slow, that is the effect of Eiskalt's basic attacks thanks to his innate ability, Frozen Throat.
Fear freezes you.
You may notice that the slow effect is rather inconsequential. He makes up for this with his first upgradable ability, Fierce Breath. Each upgrade makes his attack cover an even larger area. Here is rank 1, 2, and 3. To me, this is Eiskalt's definitive ability. Just look at it. It is so satisfying and so powerful seeing consistent area true damage against groups of armored enemies. His next ability is Cold Fury. This ability creates a layer of ice on the path that lasts for 4 seconds. It afflicts enemies with a 50% slow effect that lasts for 1 second after they leave the AoE. Personally, I like to leave this ability unupgraded for a number of reasons. First, it interrupts his normal attack, which is much better. Both have an area slow effect, but only his base attack will deal damage. Thus, he ends up using this ability at times when it would be more effective to just deal damage. Because of its short cooldown, this happens often. This is especially bad when fighting frozen souls, who will respawn if they're not killed in enough time. Eiskalt has just enough time to kill them before they revive, but if he uses Cold Fury, it will waste enough time to allow the soul to respawn. It also leaves him more vulnerable to ranged attacks when he could just outright kill those enemies. Finally, it gets wasted when used in conjunction with his hero spell, so I recommend leaving this unupgraded. Something actually worth upgrading is his next skill, Frosty.
Any last word?
Even though Frosty is a really pathetic name, this skill is quite a spectacle. It functions most similarly to Boneheart's Plague Carriers from Kingdom Rush Frontiers. Although the in-game description says that it deals 120 damage, it actually deals small increments of damage rapidly. So, depending on how quickly enemies pass through it, the damage will be more or less. One downside to this ability is that it sometimes can go in the wrong direction. Because of its 28-second cooldown, this can be a heavy loss. It also deals physical damage, making it much less effective on armored enemies. For all of these reasons, its damage is very inconsistent. However, although it takes some getting used to, you can learn what positions allow Eiskalt to send the ball in the best direction possible. Under the right circumstances, it can deal thousands of damage. Even though it still lowers his damage against frozen souls thanks to its physical damage, I still consider it worth upgrading. His next ability is Ice Peaks. Eiskalt conjures 8 ice spikes from the ground that deal 30% of his current health as true damage. At best, each spike can deal 189 damage. Because these spikes have a small AoE, they oftentimes completely miss enemies. The slow effect applies to the spikes as well. Enemies sometimes get slowed but don't take any damage. It makes this ability very unreliable. It shines against enemies with a large hitbox, who get hit by multiple spikes for more damage. Leave it upgraded when facing many large enemies. Its 14-second cooldown can lead to a lot of damage or a lot of wasted time. His ultimate ability is Glacial Storm. Every enemy on the map is frozen in place for 12 seconds. This is a very outstanding ability for just how insanely good it is. With only a 40-second cooldown, you can keep enemies frozen for 30% of the time, not even counting calling waves early to recharge the spell faster. It's very useful for stopping ranged enemies from attacking Eiskalt back. Eiskalt stands out for his AoE true damage basic attack and his insanely powerful hero spell. These alone are so good that they break the balance of the game. Even though his other abilities have some flaws, I highly recommend this hero. I recommend buying him over the Lava Dragon. Stay tuned for that review, but until then, enjoy your Ice Dragon.